Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the McLaren Mercedes MP4-25 in multiplayer. Just so you know, I have a bit of a cold as I'm recording this, so that is why I may sound a bit different. So my rank is 1679, as always, and my tuning is 10-0-10-10. And because drivetrain and exhaust are completely pro'd out, I accelerate basically as fast as I can. And this car is the second fastest accelerating car in the game, so that's pretty darn fast. Now, at the beginning there, you'll notice I specifically went and knocked down those two Apollos, because the Apollo has a speed at this rank of around 15 miles per hour higher than me, or maybe even slightly more than that, because I go about 297, 298-ish, and they go maybe 312 to 315. Generally speaking, if you're in a fast accelerating car, and you are behind a car that is faster but does not accelerate as fast, it is usually a good idea to try to knock down them at the beginning of the race if you can, because that puts them several seconds behind, and you do not have to worry about them later in the race if it is just a one-lap race. And as you can see in this race, it works quite well. One thing I would like to point out is this car does extremely well on tracks with lots of twisties. Because of its really good acceleration, it can accelerate very quickly back up to its top speed when you go around them, a lot faster than other cars can. Also, it is good to pick short tracks so that the cars with higher top speed, such as the Apollo, which is basically mostly what you'll find at this rank, will not be able to catch up as often. Now, don't get me wrong, this MP4-25 is definitely inferior to the Apollo, but if you drive skillfully and pick the right tracks, you can pull out wins a lot of the time against them. In this race, I beat 4 Apollo IEs, one of which was at a rank of 1757, and I also beat an Audi R8 SE. Now for a race on what definitely is one of the MP4-25's best tracks, Dubai. Any variant of this track is extremely good because of all the twists and turns, and it is quite short as well. The MP4-25 has a pretty good drift radius at this tune. It's definitely not as sharp as if you have it max pro'd because suspension is not pro'd out, but it's still pretty good. And oh yes, this car skids. It has skidded ever since it has come out, and unfortunately it still does it fairly often, but thankfully it's only once every few races, which maybe is like the Apollo. Generally what happens is the cars that handle really well, as in they have good grip on the ground, tend to skid more often for whatever reason. I really hope the upcoming MP4X doesn't skid, because that would be a real bummer. Speaking of the MP4X, the summer update to Asphalt 8 was supposed to come out June 12th, which is tomorrow at the time of me recording this, but apparently it is being delayed a few days for bug fixes and stuff like that. So in this race, we have beat 3 Apollos as well as another R8 SE. So yeah, as I was saying, the update is going to be postponed a few days. I don't know, maybe till Saturday. There's no word on when it will actually come out. However, Gameloft will still be doing a live stream tomorrow, June 12th, at 10 a.m. Central Time, which I think would be 3 p.m. in the UK, and 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Just wanted to let you guys know about that, because I will definitely be there, because I am extremely excited about this update, and especially since the update won't be coming out for a few days, I want to definitely be able to see what cars are in the update. The only thing I know that's been confirmed so far is that the RX-8 SE is going to be in B class. I assume the MP4X is going to be in high S class. I mean, what else are they going to do with it? But everything else is still up for, not debate, but like speculation, because only those within Gameloft know that. This, of course, only applies to right when this video comes out. If you're watching this weeks after it came out, then the update's already out and everybody knows everything about it. So here I have a little problem, bump into the wall, and that allows this Apollo to pass me just at the very last second to pull ahead for the win. So as you can see, this car definitely needs a very short and very twisty track to have a good chance against the Apollos. However, we still did beat 2 of them by a good bit. Now for another race on the MP4-25's, well, one of its best tracks, Dubai, again, and this is the normal version of Dubai. So one thing you need to keep in mind when you are playing in a car that is slower than the majority of your competition is use as many speed tricks as you can to keep a higher speed as much as you can for the longest period of time. Now back there, I did one at the barrel roll. It worked quite well. However, you need to remember that some of these are a bit risky. So only use the speed tricks that you are comfortable doing. And this is definitely a fairly challenging car to pull out wins in, mainly because, well, the Apollos are just quite a bit faster, and you really have to get good tracks, preferably on one lap. Now, I did get a couple 2-lap races throughout this video, such as the current one, and it ended up being pretty well. However, the only tracks that you can win on 2 laps in this car are the very twisty ones, such as Dubai and, as you will see later, on Nevada. So not many people have said much about this car recently, and it's basically gone off the multiplayer scene, but I just wanted to show that it is not 100% dead yet. On certain tracks, it can still do quite well if you are a skilled driver. So let's see, we beat 3 Apollos, one of which was slightly lower ranked, but 2 were higher ranked. So now for a race on Rio, in which we face an Apollo. And yeah, skids are a bit of my downfall on this one. So at the beginning, I knocked down that Apollo because, as I said earlier, that is a very... I forgot when the skid was. That's a very good tactic when you're in this car or any fast accelerating car. However, it turned out that there were 2 Apollos in this race, not just one. The one I knocked down is still behind me. However, one has gotten quite far ahead. And the thing is, when you drive a car such as this one that is slower by a good 15 miles per hour, you're not really going to be catching up to people in front of you. That is why it's best to avoid skids whenever you can. One way to do that is if you see it starting to skid one direction, just drift the other way. I'm not exactly sure how he wrecked then, because he should have knocked down me because he was faster than me and he was pushing me along. But hey, I'll take it. So in this race, we beat one Apollo but lost to another one. The rank of the one that beat us was 1706, but we beat a 1708 one. I've seen a lot of 1708 Apollos running around. I believe that is my Apollo tune, but with maxed nitro. So that would be 4505 5055. And it is a pretty good tune, basically a direct upgrade to my tune. However, it gets quite bad matchmaking when you're not risking points. So in recording these races, I had quite a few interesting knockdowns that were maybe just a bit lucky. Here I managed to land on that Apollo, and thankfully it is just 1 lap, so there is no way that he is going to be able to catch up. So it is okay to tune your Apollo to above 1700 like those did up to 1708. However, you will get bad matchmaking your first few races, even if you begin risking points. So if you do that, go above 1700, it is best if you have another car to build your risk in. Say, a lower ranked R8 SE that can consistently pull out first place wins. While it may not give you much rating increase, you can build your risk up to 100% and then not worry about matchmaking in your 1700 something Apollo. That is what I did when I tested my 1747 Vulcan. So in this race, this Apollo we beat disconnected. He was at a rank of 1687, which is 5505, 5050, and a very good tune if you do not have any more V12s. So now for an interesting race on Nevada against 3 Apollos, one of which is another 1687 one, not the same player as in the previous race, but the same tune, a 1696 one, and a 1677 one, which I believe is 3505, 5053, and is a fairly popular tune as well. However, it is inferior to the 1684 tune by a good bit. There, I just did another speed trick. If you go up that barrel roll, you will get a speed boost when you land, and if you land close enough to the ramp there, you will continue to have your speed boost in the air. Also, a little thing you can do is go to the left of the bridge and you can get a little bit of a speed boost from that. Again, none of these things give you very much of an advantage in and of themselves. However, if you do multiple ones of them in the same race, they can certainly add up, and if I had not done those speed tricks, these Apollos would definitely have been ahead of me by now. Now, one of them back there wrecked. Thankfully, he did not knock me down, and thus I'm able to be in second position. And, well, end up coming in second, ahead of 2 Apollos, but behind 1. Interestingly, the 1677 one was the one that ended up winning, and the 2 higher ranked ones were below. This just goes to show that even if you have an inferior tune, if you drive better, you can pull out wins against those that have superior tunes. Because remember guys, the car does not do all the work. The driver controls the car. Okay, now let's see how the MP4-25 does on a long and straight track like Tokyo. Basically exactly what this car does not need. However, it ended up doing a bit better than I expected. Thankfully, this car does not really seem to skid on sidewalks, it just seems to skid randomly. Which doesn't sound great, and it isn't, but at least you don't have to worry about sidewalks specifically like you do in the Apollo or Vulcan. So at this point, one of the Apollos was catching up quite close behind me, and I was pretty sure he was going to catch up and try to knock me down. So I went over to the left side, but somehow, I think he ran out of nitro. And I can confirm that this is true because at the end of the race we see that this guy was running single tank and not extra tank, which is not good for this Tokyo tunnel. Since he had to wag to get nitro and I didn't as much, I was able to get through the tunnel and into this section without the Apollos catching up to me. However, my car decided to randomly turn into the robot leg and thus cause me to wreck. It is quite annoying when stuff like that happens, and even though I do not think that I would have come in first, he would probably have been able to catch up to me. Still, there's a chance, and now there isn't. Thankfully, the other two Apollos are far enough behind me, and I have enough speed that they aren't able to catch up to me, and thankfully the finish line is straight ahead. Oh, and guys, before I forget to say it, the music video that was supposed to be at 8,000 subs, I am postponing to 9,000 subs, mainly because I reached 8,000 subs right after I came back from vacation, and had no time to work on the video. And then right after I came back, I got sick, and thus I couldn't record any lyrics, and yeah, it's just not gonna work out. So, 9,000 subs, it will come out. So in this race, a 1681 Apollo beat us, but we did beat 3 other Apollos, so there are actually 4 Apollos in that race. Now, in this final race, we have a very interesting battle against the same 1681 Apollo that beat us in the previous race, named Ibrahim E. or something like that. This race shows what the MP4-25 can do on a track that may not seem all especially great for it. While Nevada does have twists and turns, it also has a lot of straight parts. And so, as you can bet, I was quite interested to see how the MP4-25 would perform on a track such as this one, on 2 laps no less. So an interesting fact about this car for me anyway, is it was the very first car that I managed to get to Champion League in. Yes, when it first came out, I won it, and for the next few seasons I managed to scrape into Champion League in the last couple days of the season. Now back then, my car was a lot lower ranked, around like rank 1600 or something. Here I made a bit of a mistake, which caused my speed to drop like crazy. However, not all was lost. Because of the MP4-25's good drifting and acceleration, however, I'm able to get around these turns faster than he does and come into this stretch slightly further ahead. However, he is still quite close behind me, and we have an entire another lap to go. I was thinking this is not going to go well for me, but then I realized that he took the outside route in this tunnel instead of the inside route. Going on the inside route there is a whole lot faster and can help you pull out some wins when you otherwise might not. I have had so many experiences with that tunnel, making or breaking a multiplayer race. So my voice is now giving out, as you might be able to tell, so I will give my general review of this car. It is still quite a good car, and while it is not any king of multiplayer, it can do extremely well on short and twisty tracks, as you can see in this video. So if you have this car in your garage, I would definitely recommend taking it out for a spin, maybe just in free race. But it is really quite a fun car to drive, and I hope the upcoming MP4X has some of the same characteristics, like the very good acceleration and handling. So this Apollo was basically on top of me now, and I wasn't sure if I would actually be able to make it to the end before he passed me or knocked me down. But I was able to, but barely, as you can see here, and I did pull out the win, even with some mistakes around those turns. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully I will feel a lot better for my next video. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!